All right, guys, so today we are going to focus on how to draw the nose. And we're going to be looking at some noses of people here and talking about some common mistakes that people make when they're drawing a realistic nose. Of course, there's a lot of ways to draw noses in a cartoon way, which is totally fine. But if you want your nose to look realistic, we're going to talk about how to move your nose drawing skills from a little cartoon drawing nose to a realistic shaded looking nose. So let's get started. All right. So here are some common mistakes that people make when they are drawing noses. If I have some faces here, and we'll draw some little cartoon eyes and mouths, sometimes we have people who draw what I call a popcorn nose. It looks like a little piece of popcorn, might look like that, or like a little cartoon hand. Pretty cute, huh? Or you might have a little pointy nose like that. Or sometimes when I'm drawing a cartoon, I like to draw a little bump nose like that. So there's lots of different ways that you can draw noses in cartoons, but when we want to start drawing realistically, we're gonna have to look a little bit closer at all of the parts of the nose. So let's start by looking at some pictures of noses here. And we're gonna start by noticing this part right here that looks like the letter U. So we're gonna start by drawing that. And notice that some people's little letter U section is really skinny, and some people's are wider, and everybody's is a little bit different. And sometimes, this part, this U part, is down really low where the nostrils come up higher, and sometimes it's even with the nostrils, and sometimes even the nostrils are lower than this part. So we want to think about the relationship between where the placement of this U shape is right here with the nostrils. Are the nostrils above it, below it, or equal to it? And also how wide or flat is this U shape there? So I'm going to draw one that's kind of in the middle. So I'm going to draw a U shape here. It's a little bit in the middle. So here's that U shape. And you can see at the top of my U here, it's kind of curving out because that's where I'm about to add some nostrils. So after you've drawn a U shape, and today you're drawing just a generic nose, you don't have to draw your nose or anybody else's, we're just practicing. In the future, maybe you'll look at yourself in the mirror or somebody else and draw their portrait and really pay attention to what their nose specifically looks like. Now, the next thing that we're gonna add is the nostril, which is that hole on the nose. And if you look at a variety of people, some people have a really big nostril, or at least their nostrils are flared out where we can see more of their nostril. And some people just have a little line, like this one here is less of a line and we're seeing less of the nostril. And some people's noses are tilted a little bit up, so you're seeing more. And some people's noses are tilted down where you're not seeing much of the nostril at all. So you want to pay attention to whoever your subject is that you're drawing in the future, but today you can just make up a nostril. So a common nostril mistake that people make is that they draw nostrils that are like perfect circles. And I don't know anybody whose nostrils are perfect circles. So you wouldn't want to draw a nostril, like if you did the U of the nose, you wouldn't want to draw two perfect little circle nostrils like that, because that's definitely not what your nostrils really look like. Now, if you're drawing a cartoon nose, then maybe two little nostrils like that might work. But for a realistic nose, nostrils are shaped a little bit like a squashed peanut. So take a look at noses when you're drawing them and notice all the variety of nostrils, because no two nostrils are the same, just like no two people are the same. So now we've drawn our nostrils. We're also going to start drawing this curved part on the side of the nose. And again, with everybody, there's a variety of the shapes. So you want to look carefully at the person that you're drawing in the future, but today you're just going to make it up. But notice that this line here, this little forward letter C and backwards letter C here, is really close to the nostril down here, and then it curves up and away. So we're going to be drawing those side parts of the nose. So I'm going to start really close to the nostril, and then it's going to come up. So there's going to be more space right here and in. Some people have bigger nostrils, some people have smaller nostrils. You want those to be even. You don't want one to be different from the other. So far we have this curved part here, and we drew our nostrils, and now we have the flared side of our nostrils here. And now we're going to focus on drawing the bridge of the nose, or the ridge of the nose here. Now a lot of times in drawings, people will feel like they need to have, especially in a cartoon drawing, a line showing me where the edge of the nose or the bump of the nose meets the flatness of the cheeks. And when we look at this person here and this person here, notice that there is no black outline showing me where the nose begins or ends. The nose just kind of waterfalls smoothly into the cheeks. So a common mistake that we might draw, if you're drawing a nose, I'll use this one here, is you might just add lines on the side. And that's totally fine for a cartoon nose. You'll see that a lot. But if we want our noses to look realistic, since there are no actual lines on the side of the nose, we'll need to look at the shading, because shading makes everything look 3D. So if we're shading the nose, we'll notice that there's a darker shade here, a lighter shade through the middle where that tallest part of the nose is catching the light, and then a darker shade here. So most people in normal lighting, we have a lighter color through the middle, and then darker shading on either side of the nose, and usually a highlight on that part of the nose that sticks out the most. So let's go ahead and do that. So now I've added some shading, which is already showing or making my nose look like it's 3D and not flat. So we've got this highlight through the middle here and the two shaded areas on the side. And you might notice that when I started adding that shading on my picture, it looked pretty scratchy. Now nobody has a big hairy nose and with really scratchy lines, so I used my finger to smooth out all the graphite from my pencil, and I also smoothed in between that light and dark area with my finger to make sure that there's this nice gradual blend from dark to light, like a little rainbow bump here where it goes dark to light to dark really smoothly, rather than having a really sharp edge where dark and light are, because your nose is not a Minecraft box nose. It's very smooth and round and continuous. So the next thing that we're going to do is look at adding some more shading. So when I look at the nose and I notice we've got dark and light and dark, that's kind of the basic that I'm seeing where the lights and darks are, but I can notice that I could use my eraser and erase out a highlight here. I notice that it's even darker here. Inside that dark side, we've got this extra dark shadow here and here, so I might darken down the deepest part of that dark shadow there. So I'm going to do my highlight and those two shadow areas. So did you know that using your eraser as an artist is a tool that you can use to draw? So it's not always there just for mistakes. I plan on using my eraser, and my eraser is a really important tool for drawing. I'm going to keep going with my shading here, but because the nose is mostly a bump on the face where it goes from low to high to low again, the nose is really all about the shading and less about the lines or the parts. So I also notice on the nostril here that it's super dark right here. at the bottom, like near the opening of the nostril and below, and the nostril's lighter right here on top. So we can see the light part of this nostril is here. This one here, you see the light part right here, and then it's dark all the way around, kind of shading towards this crease right here. And underneath the nostril, we have some shading too. You might also see a little highlight like this person has right there, depending on the shape of your nose. So let's do some shading around the nostril. All right. So we have started by adding the curved part here, and then we added our nostrils, and then we added these flared parts on the sides of the nostrils, and then we shaded the three parts of our nose, the light part in the middle and the two dark parts on the side, and then we looked deeper into each area and said, where is it darker or lighter on each part of the nose? Make sure that all of your shading is nice and smooth and that you're drawing very carefully and taking your time. Don't forget that using your eraser is a great tool for making art. I hope you guys enjoyed making this nose tutorial today. Keep practicing drawing noses. It's pretty cool to see what you can make.